We live in troubling times.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Whoop. Whoop. Good morning again, Linda. Morning, Rosa. Oh, me too. Yeah, he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. Hey, Shawnee. Hey, Aaron. Good morning. Ah. I really like Bernard. Been following him for a while now. Yeah, yeah. He's really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. Hello. Good morning, Akicha. Hey, Zoe. Hey, Courtney. Hey, Kat. Thank you. Appreciate you. Good morning. Did you see the Mediterranean is full of pirates now? No, I didn't. I would. Somehow that doesn't surprise me. Robert People's awesome. Yep. Yeah, I have his video too. He'll be coming up in the next couple weeks as well. Having some coffee and banana bread. Heck yeah. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of cool people coming up that either their primaries or just later. Like you're gonna start seeing a lot of the June, July, August, September primary people coming up now. So you'll see Florida's and then all the people that just don't. Okay. Sure they will, Wendell. Good luck with that. Morning, OC. Google it in AI mode. Oh. That was a good one. That was a good one. Yep. Interviewed Jonathan too. Morning, Kia. Morning, Crime Lord. Oh. Good morning, Candace. Hey, Laura. Yeah. My understanding is they are trying to get rid of both of them now, instead of only having one, having none. So it'll be very interesting. Hey, Bobia. Hey, Silver. Morning, David. So I don't know if they're still here or if anyone else is listening. I'm gonna make this clear. If you come in and you tell me that I need to Google something in AI mode for an answer, what's so funny, K-Mac? Is it true Janet Mills dropped out of the Senate race? I do not know. I haven't checked. Hey, Nana. Yes, someone said that, Party Monster. I cannot give you an answer to that, Jared. I cannot give you an answer to that. I'd have to. Jest. Correct. That is their plan, is to try and do it tomorrow, I think. Pretty sure I heard tomorrow is when they're planning on doing it. Yeah, Shawnee. I am starting the process of getting people used to that going to happen, and then I'm going to do it. This week is just too crazy. I may start next week. I haven't decided yet. Morning, Patty. Morning, Snook. Morning, Deidre. Yeah. I mean, this isn't a surprise. Again, this is why, just like Scott said yesterday, this is why they released the decision today when they did. Because if they waited like one more day, they could not postpone the primaries because early voting would have started. Kagan dissent was powerful. I got chills. Yeah. Yeah. Early voting didn't start in Louisiana, I don't think. Oh, it did? And okay. There you go. Did we talk about the economic blackout starting tomorrow? This one seems to be gaining traction. I mean, we've talked about it a bit here and there. Hey, Christopher. Hey, April. Good morning. Morning, Jeremiah. Thank you, Party Monster. Powell is out as the Fed chair next month. He is not out as a governor. He's still a Fed governor, I believe, until 2028. Thank you, Party. Well, I mean, we'll see what the governors say. It's still the governor's vote on whether to change the rates. It's not the chair, I don't think, but be interested to see how the move by Landry plays out. Yep. I'm hearing there's water shortage at the Hoover Dam and possible utilities could be cut for folks. And some refineries have pulled away from refining gasoline and are only refining diesel and jet fuel because they make more money off of it. So expect gas prices to go up more. My body did not expect the 30s when I walked outside earlier. Yeah. All right, community people can come up. Hello.
Good morning.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, it's boy, is this going to be an interesting case. And I know I've gotten 2 or 3 DMs already, or 3 or 4 actually. Can they do this? Can they do this? Can they do this? Meaning about Landry in Louisiana. And I would love to give a social media, what social media wants, yes or no, black or white. Folks, this is an interesting one. What leads me to believe that he'll get away with it is the 2019 case, Rucho v. Common Cause. That was the case where the Supreme Court said, hey, gerrymandering, that's up to the states. Leave us out of it. You know, they can do whatever they want. And then yesterday's case, Landry can make the case that he's merely following the dictates of the Supreme Court. He can say, and Rucho gives me the power to do this. But voting has started.
Yep.
Jesus. I mean, that is taking the line that the Supreme Court drew, and the Supreme Court, the majority claimed that they were drawing a narrow line. I don't see anything narrow about the line they draw. I agree with the dissent, which said you've basically gutted the Voting Rights Act. There is no fine line here that you've drawn. But if the Supreme Court really thinks that they've drawn a fine line, what Landry's doing blows that away.
Yeah.
So what's the answer? The answer is this is going to be one hell of an interesting case. That's the answer. Because obviously he'll be sued.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think people realize that basically what SCOTUS did was make what Article 2 did was So the hardest thing about gerrymandering, especially when it comes to racial issues, was they always in most other cases you had to prove intent. What Article 2 allowed was you didn't have to prove intent. You just had to there just had to be a reality of it. What they're basically making it is that intent is now required. Like you now is required to show intent, kind of like what they did with the president and immunity. They basically made it, except even worse, because because they have allowed gerrymandering on partisan issues, they can just say, no, we didn't do this because of ethnicity. We did this because of voting, of how these people vote. And we're making this based on party partisanship, not ethnicity.
Which leads to a question, doesn't it? How the hell are you going to prove intent? In other words, you would have to have a governor or state legislature say, we're going to do a redistricting, and we're going to do it because we hate black people. That's basically what the Supreme Court is saying. That unless they affirmatively say that we hate black people, and that's why we're doing it, they can do any goddamn thing they want.
Correct.
So that is creating a distinction without a difference. It is a distinction that is meaningless.
Nix, no. Again, there's partisan and then there's racial. I mean, all gerrymandering is bad, but partisan gerrymandering is not protected by the Voting Rights Act, by the Civil Rights Act. It again, if you are taking away representation from marginalized communities, any of them, that's what is protected.
Basically making the victims have to prove that they were being victimized, that they're the ones that the harm was done to, and I just think that's just absolutely fucking insane.
Yeah, but I think it's even worse than that. They can prove harm was done to them, and that's not good enough. You have to prove that they intended to do harm to them. They have to affirmatively say that they're going to do harm to them. I mean, it's an impossible standard. I don't know how that standard would ever apply unless you have a governor who's dumb enough to say, we don't like black and brown people, so we're doing it for that reason and that reason only. Well, nobody's going to say that.
Yep. Again, to everyone, I don't bring up people I don't know. I have there is no requirement that I bring you up. If you have something to say, you can say it in chat. If you want to stick around and show that you're part of the community and you align with our fundamentals, we will then bring you up.
And when the mod declines your request, that does not mean request again.
Usernames, I have no idea what your... Wow.
Do you want to try that again? No.
No,
It's
I just
okay.
want to try the same thing again.
It's a crazy town. And I hate to give an unsatisfactory answer as to how this case will go. But, I mean, Landry has two strong arguments going for him, but there's a very strong argument going against him, and that voting has already started.
Yep.
And I don't know how you square that circle. I really don't know how you do that. My guess is that he'll get away with it, but I have not a whole lot of confidence in my guess. The reason that I think he'll get away with it is that it'll go to the Louisiana Supreme Court. They'll side, of course, with Landry, and then the Supreme Court won't hear the case, saying this is a state issue. This is not our ballpark. But wow, voting has already started. And, Justice Alito, you and your fine line, and this is a narrowly drawn decision. Narrowly drawn decision, my ass. That was not a narrowly drawn decision. We've all seen narrowly drawn decisions. This wasn't it.
Yep. Milton, multi-member districts, I've heard about it. You know what else would at least make it more difficult? Doubling the number of representatives. That would also make it more difficult. Or just requiring that, or putting a specific number on the max for that any representative has, and if that, if a state gets more, then they get more, just like with any, like, after every words are hard this morning. Census. Gosh. And the reality is what we're seeing, what we're experiencing right now is not a surprise. I mean, Scott talked about it yesterday. Straight up said, when I saw it, I was like, yep, welcome to the slippery slope. We are sitting in a period of time where we are going to want to counter everything, but we also need to remind ourselves every time that we choose to go any direction that we are dealing with a group of people that have no line that they won't go below. They just don't.
Yeah. We thought I talked about it yesterday. They're going to move fast, and they are moving fast. The issue isn't looking at this in a macro sense. The issues are more moral and more democratic, small d, than they are about this upcoming election. They're not going to be able to move enough seats to save themselves for the 2026 elections. But what this does do is it permanently alters the playing field. It tilts it. The Republicans have a built-in advantage now and will for 2028, 2030, 2032, 2034, on and on and on and on. Is there anything the Democrats can do? Sure there is. I read a very interesting long piece in the New York Times this morning, and they interviewed the fair districting commissions that were set up almost exclusively in blue states to have independent commissions set up so that there's no gerrymandering. And all of them now wish they had never done it. They said our mistake was going it alone without a red state buy-in, because the red states, he said, we never thought that the red states would take advantage of this and try and rig the system. And the best quote I read was a guy, he said, absolutely, no gerrymandering is good governance. He said, absolutely, but not at the expense of our very democracy. So the Democrats are going to have to, unfortunately, undo the independent commissions and gerrymandering kind until some sort of truce can be called and something new negotiated. And the other thing is, as we discussed yesterday, when they get the trifecta again, this time no more Mr. Nice Guy. A new Roe v. Wade, which can easily be done, an anti-gerrymandering thing, a new Voting Rights Act. Pass them all.
Well,
get them through.
And here's the other thing that we need to remember that I think gerrymandering up until the moment of this presidency, I think this presidency is different And what I mean by different is I think they have messed up more than they realize that they have messed up. So this morning, for those of you that were there, we watched the video of Bernard Taylor, who's running for Florida's 21st district. It is a red district. It is up until the moment of the new redistricting plan. It was a 7.5 plus R district. The redistricting they did on it made it a 5.5 R district. The reality comes is that, as we've talked about before, that in order to make blue districts red, they have to dilute red districts. Now, in every case, that won't fix the problem. But one thing that I think our brains don't trust, which is completely fair. There's still a part of me that sees this and goes, "Oh man, we're look what's going to happen. Look, we're screwed." The one thing that interviewing all these people is making me realize is how upset even Republicans are with not only this administration, but with the status quo, with the normal antics of the two-party system. We've got a lot of people that are done with this. And I mean, we watched a video yesterday of someone who's running in Texas and said his people and Republicans in his district are so tired of the current leadership that they joined his campaign team. So it's one of those things where I'm not going to sit here and make bets on it, because that's not. Thank you, Dynasty. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. That is very kind of you. Now I got to make a new one because y'all are so generous. I think we're gonna be surprised at a lot of these races. And the thing we need to keep reminding ourselves too is we need to keep talking about and pointing out the mistakes and where the status quo has failed us as a whole. Because as the months go on and things get worse, because I'm telling you right now, things are going to get so much worse. You think things are expensive now, and I'm not saying this to be shocking, like to try and make y'all scared or anything, but it is going to get worse. Our storage of jet fuel and diesel and gasoline are plummeting. There's already reporting of refineries stopping or cutting the amount of gas that they are refining by tens of, like, thousands of barrels a day, if not more. I forget what the number was off the top of my head, but it was by a lot. So they could increase diesel and jet fuel production because those make them more money.
Mike, I agree with what you said, with an important caveat, however. The Democrats are going to win the House. They're not going to win it by as many seats as they had thought they would because of yesterday's decision. But yesterday's decision is not going to be enough to enable the Republicans to hold the House. But that's not the issue. The issue is the future, because not every year is going to be a blue wave year. This is a blue wave year. Donald Trump's going to be gone soon. And things, the next Donald Trump is going to be younger, smarter, with a smile on his face, more intelligent, won't make the dumb mistakes that Donald Trump makes, and will do truly awful things. So we have to prepare for the next one. And with the already built-in advantage that the Republicans have in the Senate, because there are more small red states than there are small blue states, and each state gets 2 senators. Wyoming gets the same 2 senators with 750,000 that California gets, or Texas, or Florida, or New York. There's more of those, so they have a built-in advantage, which gives them a built-in advantage in the Electoral College. Now, after yesterday's decision, they will now have a built-in advantage in the House. We're going to have to counter that because, sure, we can win in a blue wave year, but outside of not every year is going to be a blue wave year. And in years where it's more equal, we're going to lose, and we're going to lose all 3. So something has to be done. And as for the prices, you're absolutely correct. They're the lead story in the New York Times right now. Oil hits a 4-year high as the standoff has no end in sight. And I read in a piece by an economist this morning, and he said first it'll be gas and natural gas. He said that's already being followed up with food. And then he says last on the list, the overall inflation rate will start to ever increasingly rise. So there's going to be a long tail to this war if it ended tomorrow.
Well, and here's the thing. So the reason that our storage is so low is because there are a lot more tankers, that went to us instead of going to the Middle East. Even if the war ends now, those tankers are not going to go to the Middle East. It's too long of a trip for them to do. They're going to stay there and they're going to fill up here, and then maybe they'd start going, assuming that there was even the ability to get as much as they needed over there for any amount of time. That is going to continue to reduce our supply dramatically. Living does rely on the cost of fuel. Everyone's living relies on the cost of fuel. All different kinds of fuel. Gas, diesel, and jet fuel. The cost of everything that we do relies on one of those things.
Whether you work from home, whether you have to commute, whether you do any of that, the entire economy, all the products have to get transported some way, somehow, whether it's via an airplane, whether it's a train, whether it's a truck, whether it's a ship, a boat, whatever. That all requires fuel. So it literally, and not to mention if your home is powered by natural gas or oil or what have you, like literally everything.
Everyone who owns a truck, yeah, those use diesel.
Yeah.
Who are you to tell me that? You're in our channel.
Well, not anymore. Following up on what Kia said, everything in the economy. And folks, and I know, and I get it. We because we drive by gas stations every day and we see the cost of gas. And by the way, it went up 30 cents.
50. I got gas on Sunday. It was $3.67. I went to take my son to work yesterday, so that was Sunday. So yesterday was Wednesday. Went by the gas station to take Damon to work. It's $4.19.
Yeah, but I'm talking about national average, Kia, and you guys are about 15 cents cheaper than my state, and Oklahoma is the cheapest at $3.71 average cost per gallon. But of course, on the negative side, you have to live in Oklahoma, so it's not worth it, folks.
I just want to say this quick for everyone because I didn't say it right at the beginning, and then we'll get right back into it. This is a quick PSA for people. So if those of you didn't see the video that I posted on TikTok yet, I am trying to raise money to travel around and interview progressive candidates that want to actually fix the problems that we're having. That's something that's very important here. That's why one of the reasons that I do what I do, I post every day over on the tube. We go live over on the tube. there is a very good possibility, not even a very good, it's going to happen sometime in the next week or two. You're going to see a lot more announcements about it. 1 day a week to start, I'm going to go live only over on the tube. If you like what we do here, and the reason we're doing it is we are constantly getting restrictions and things put on us for trying to have these conversations, these kind of conversations that are of what's going on in the world. And this app, since it was bought, is not allowing us to do that. So we're going over there. But one of the things that I'm doing that I also want to do is I want to go and meet the people at where these candidates, where they're at. So I'm doing a fundraiser. There's a link in the bio. There's a link in Discord. There's a link tagged over in the tube. If you have the ability, any amount helps to make it possible. The more I'm able to raise, the more places and the more people I'll be able to interview. I want to see them where they're at. I want to talk. Wow, Kathy. Someone's woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I want to talk to the constituents. I think those are things that we need. So if you can or are willing to, please do. If not, I completely understand. I know money's tight right now. Anyways, sorry, Scott. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, quite all right. The only other point that I was going to make is it's not just the price of oil, folks. It's the price of natural gas. And we have a real problem there because Qatar, which alone produces 20% of the world's supply of natural gas, has sustained grievous injury to their production facilities that, according to them, will take 2 to 5 years to fix. That is what I mean by a long tail. This is going to raise prices for somebody, and I should have remembered your name. I apologize in chat. Just brought up a very good point on fertilizer. You need to have nitrogen-based fertilizer. You need natural gas. And most of the nitrogen-based fertilizer comes from that area of the world, and it is the best type of fertilizer that American farmers like, and that's going to hurt us cost-wise that we'll soon be seeing. I know at my local supermarket, a 99-cent bag, and this is the ShopRite brand. ShopRite is a regional supermarket in the Northeast. That used to cost 99 cents, was $1.49 yesterday. So, again, anecdotal evidence, but you are going to see inflation in there's about a 2-month tail. It's already going up, but you're going to see it go up more significantly in about 2 months because the farmers are planting crops now and they don't have enough fertilizer, and what they do have is costing them significantly more. So it is like Kia said, it's everything. I work at home. I don't care about the price of gas. Well, do you have Amazon delivered to you? Guess what? You're paying for it. You're paying for it. You may not see it in the price, but you're paying for it.
So person who said in the beginning, yes, Governor Mills has suspended her campaign. So it looks like what's his face is the
Graham Plattner is the nominee, and he will be going up against Susan Collins, and he's been doing well in the polls. I'm becoming increasingly bullish on the Senate. I'd say it's at least 50-50 chance now, which, given this map, to have a 50-50 chance is incredible. And there's an upside to the Democrats, and I don't see any upside to the Republicans. It's 50-50 today. I have a feeling a month from now it'll be more 55-45. If you're looking at the Senate, the top pickup opportunities, the Democrats have to hold Michigan. They have to hold Georgia. The Republicans are pulling the plug in Georgia, although they're not admitting it. They've given up on trying to beat Ossoff. He's going to cakewalk. Michigan's a little bit more difficult, but once the Democratic primary finishes, it's been a very vicious primary, they'll unify, and I'm not too worried about Michigan. And then the number 1 state I think that'll flip will be North Carolina. Number 2, Maine, in terms of possibilities. Number 3, Ohio. Number 4, Alaska, and very close behind that, Texas, Iowa, and Nebraska.
Here's the thing, Christopher, that we need to understand, and I hear we can't compare ourselves to the globe. We can only compare ourselves to here. I think I personally believe that we need to be farther left as well. But we cannot just magically make a whole country be farther to the left. And maybe more of the country is farther to the left than we believe, and it's only our politics that have created that. Either way, we need to have better conversations with people in order to get people on board with that idea, because I understand that I get that comment a lot from people about, our left isn't as far left as Europe or the globe or whatever. We're us, and it doesn't, like, I don't all I care about is humans, and that's what matters to me. I don't past that. I don't care where we are in comparison to everywhere else. I care about humanity. Correct. Our two-party system is a massive problem, and we need to fix it. 100%. 100%. We need to fix our two-party system. We need to get rid of the electoral college, and we need ranked choice voting. Thoughts on Jerome Powell? What about him? Like him being gone as the chair? Obviously, I'm sad in the sense of I know that the person going in is going to be more likely to do Trump's bidding. Past that.
Well, I think it's interesting, and I think salutary that he is staying on the Fed. Most Fed chairmen, when their term is over, they also leave as Fed governors, whereas Powell has elected to stay on as a Fed governor, and that's going to make things a little bit more difficult for Trump.
Yep.
I will say, Dynasty, I'm not originally from North Carolina, but I've been here longer than where I grew up. But the thing about Roy Cooper is that he's somebody that got shit done, and it wasn't just for the Dems. Like, he was popular across the aisle. He did good with working across the aisle, and I think that's why it's really important that happens. And definitely, we got to get rid of Citizens United. I said that a while ago, because the fact is how do we ever expect to have people who actually represent us when it takes them so much money to even try to win a race? I will also like to say, I think the DNC is doing a shitty job right now. Like, the fact that they won't release the report from the 2024 situation, like they won't release the report and stuff like that. Like, I saw some videos yesterday hearing the person who's in charge of that talking about it, and it's like, okay, so they kept talking about, well, we've got the folders or the plans or whatever. Well, fuck that. That's part of the problem. You got to look, you have to see what went wrong. You have to know what's wrong, not what some reports, not some shit that people put together to make it look better. What actively happened? We want to see the reports. Let it be seen. Yeah, the autopsy. They need to release it, and like they need to see. Um, I just think though, because like I was hearing, just scrolling through, someone's like, well, what if they redistrict all of Illinois and all of Cali and take away every single Republican district and make them all Dem seats in all these bigger cities or these bigger states? In New York, what if they did the same? What if you literally gerrymander out every Republican? And it's just like, I keep saying, and I've been saying in this space, racism is fucking expensive. Racism is expensive for everybody. And for so long, I think I keep going back to the fact that for so long people were so content because things weren't affecting them and they got to live their lives and they got to do all the things. And now people are just like waking up, and that's the problem. We got to get our heads out of the sand because they've been working on this shit for decades. I remember I was born in 1980, the year Reagan was elected. But even I remember, as I got a little bit older, seeing him on the TV, or seeing the shit that him and Nancy did, how harmful it was. And that was like the real start of it all. I want people to understand and realize these voting rights acts were not passed hundreds of years ago. There's still people walking, breathing, and voting right now that were alive when these damn voting rights were passed. And there's a reason they had to pass it. There's a reason. And poor little white tea people who thought, oh my goodness, why would the black people want to go ahead and be represented in an equalized way of what they make up the population? Like, why is that a problem? Why is that a problem? I wish people like
Yeah.
y'all.
I mean, I understand the real reason why they're not releasing the autopsy, and because the autopsy will show that Latino and Gen Z swung very heavily towards Trump in the last election. And since that time, they have come back even more so, even higher than they voted for Biden in 2020. They've come back 100% and then tack on another 20%. So their reasoning is, why piss off people who've already come back to us? But I agree with Kia's reasoning. We have to understand what went wrong. And we're happy that they're back in the fold. We're delighted they're back in the fold. We still have to understand what we did to piss them off in the first place. So, sunshine is the best disinfectant. And the way you fix yourself is releasing the autopsy. So I agree with you, Kia, on that. I understand why they're not doing it, and I think that's very short-sighted and very inside baseball is the reason that they're not releasing it. And I think it's a really big mistake. But it is what it is, and we move on. This guy doesn't impress me at all, this Martin guy. Not at all.
And that's another fucking problem. Like, I don't know if they're bots, whatever, but and they're not all bots because I've been hearing people in different spaces talking about it. There goes the racism. So they're talking about now you can't fucking, the Democrats can't do it on race. The misinformation, the deliberate misinformation that is going out and running fucking muck everywhere is part of the damn problem. Not only does Citizens United need to be fucking taken care of, but the fairness doctrine also needs to be taken care of. Like, there needs to be some kind of accountability for all this bullshit that is just running rampant all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've heard, unfortunately, members of MAGA try and pretend that there's, there's now racism against people that look like me. And we know that the people that brought the suit forth in Louisiana were people that looked like me, that decided that they weren't being represented by, they weren't being represented now because of the way the districts were created. And
Well, we've talked about Citizens United. We've talked about the Fairness Doctrine. We've talked about gerrymandering. We've talked about the Supreme Court decision overthrowing the 1965 Voting Rights Act, which I am one of those people who remember the day it passed. I was young, but I remember the day that it passed, and I remember why it passed. We're talking about a lot of things, and Mike, what's it all add up to? It adds up to what you and I have been talking about for 2 fucking years, which is the time has come for a constitutional convention.
Dynasty. So Virginia, they passed the redistricting in Virginia. It is now in the Virginia Supreme Court's hands. We'll see what happens. I find it hard for anyone to be able to not allow it to go through now after what happened, but you know, it wouldn't surprise me. Nothing surprises me at this point.
The one thing I do want to say to my fellow black, brown, indigenous people that are in this place, in this chat, that can hear my voice, please do not allow these motherfuckers to stop you from voting. Do not give in to what they want. And for all of my all the YT people in here, what are you going to do about it? Like, are you guys going to make more calls? Are you what are you going to do to get actively involved? Like, do you guys have plans? Like, are you talking to people? Are you talking to people about what what's going on with this? Like, that's something, so I'm gonna tell you, black folks are upset. They are really, really upset right now. And this is bullshit. I mean, when you have the fucking SCOTUS, when you have SCOTUS, like doing shit like this, like y'all, like I recognize, maybe because I've never worn rose colored glasses and I've always realized that people could be shit and that a lot of people are shit. I've never thought that, oh no, they wouldn't do that. That's the fucking problem. We keep playing by, oh, we don't want to do that, and let's just hold hands and kumbaya. Fuck all that shit. Like, fuck all that shit. You guys, we gotta pay attention to what's going on and stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. Stop giving people the benefit of the doubt, because even when they tell you how fucking evil they are, you don't believe them. You've got to wake up. You've got to pay more attention. Start having these conversations. I don't give a fuck if you're uncomfortable. Me and my black ass, every time I walk out my damn house, I'm uncomfortable. Every time my kids walk out the damn house, I'm uncomfortable for them as black men walking around in this racist ass fucking country. And you know what's really fucking crazy? Is that my grandchild is going to be biracial. My son is black and his mom is, and its mom is going to be white. I don't know what we're having yet, but it makes me terrified for what this country is going to be like when they grow up. I'm so fucking mad, Courtney. Like, I didn't even go live yesterday. I had to, like, just try to process. And I was just getting more mad. And I went back and forth between being mad and fucking sad. This country, this government, the regime, the people who voted for that shit, you're a fucking joke. This shit is fucking disgusting. And I better not, and I'm telling you, if any of your friends or any of your family members say that racism does not still exist in this fucking country, I'm going to need for you to shut that shit down.
Agreed.
Hey, Victoria.
Hi.
Hey,
I'm doing
Victoria.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me up. I was actually just up on Steve's live, and I was talking about how white people, we have to do the work. Jim Crow never ended. Slavery never ended. It rebranded. What we are seeing today is just that. We are seeing that and rolling it back. The modern Republican Party is based in systematic oppression. Full stop. That is why we had a segregationist who was still an elected official up until 2002 in DC. So if you want to be not a problematic white person, get out, deconstruct, read White Rage, read The New Jim Crow. If you need a softball, go get White Fragility. But I highly recommend you go ahead and just rip the Band-Aid off and start reading and start deconstructing. Because the only way forward is for white people to understand their power and start speaking up for Black, Brown, and Indigenous people in our country. Because every single one of them knew this was coming. Every single one of them knew that this was going to happen. And now you have states like Tennessee that are trying to gerrymander it further in our only congressional district that has a Democrat elected official. Tennessee is not a red state. It is a voter suppressed, non-voting state. We have been gerrymandered through and through. And now they want to take a majority Black district and further gerrymander it so people like Marsha Blackburn can criminal more. Like, this is unacceptable. You have to get mad. You have to get out and speak out against this, because if you don't, you're allowing this. You're allowing this to happen. You're allowing Jim Crow to come back full force, and it will be 2.0, and they're going to take women's rights away next, because they say it in closed door sessions, they say it in interviews, that if they took women's rights away, that takes away all the rights away from marginalized communities, and they are coming for every single one of it. So vote in every single election, all the way down ballot. Do not vote for Republicans, because Republicans fall in line, Democrats fall in love. And if you want better representation, vote for it. Be involved. There is countrywide, nationwide organizing that is happening right now. And if you want change, you have two modes of transportation. Voting is public transportation. You're getting on the bus that is going the right direction. And right now, the Republican Party is headed off a cliff. And guess who's in the bus? And guess who's hanging out on this cliff? It's all us poor working class people are in the bus. They're going to let it roll right off, and they're going to hang out while they get richer off of our backs.
By the way, for those of you that don't know, Victoria is running for Congress in Tennessee. I posted the interview just a couple weeks ago. It's all a blur now. Make sure you go watch it. Make sure you support her. This is her second time running for Congress, and she is one of those people that I was talking about, Scott, that is putting in a massive amount of work to flip a district that that most people probably don't think is going to flip, but actually might, based on what she has experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Victoria, why don't you tell us what district that is?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, I'm Victoria Broderick, and I'm running for Congress in Tennessee's District 4. I ran my first congressional race in 2024 when I found out my opponent was going to run unopposed, and I said over my unalived body. I ran a congressional campaign in 5 months, working full-time, having 2 tiny humans, 4 fur babies, fostering with our local humane society, and I grew the district in voter turnout. What did I do differently? I'm the first progressive to ever run in this district. I ran on working class values. So for those of you who are like, what's progressivism? It's your weekends. It's your 8-hour workday. It's working class representation. And that's what I did. And you know what? I raised $120,000. Ugh, damn it. I got a violation.
Yeah.
So yeah, come out and support me. I'm a small dollar candidate. I didn't take APAC money, didn't take corporate PAC money, and yeah, of course I get a violation. I've been catching a lot of them lately. But
you're not the only one. It's been happening to Scott a lot. It's been happening all over. This is again for making people uncomfortable. Yeah, that is what. I
will take a lap so you don't get any more violations.
No, don't worry about it. I don't care.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, cool.
I've already told people this is why you should follow over on the tube, because if it gets really bad here, that is where I'm going to go. There's already plenty of people that were huge here that have had the same problem that have just moved over there. So if you don't follow over there, if it's something that, if you want to stay involved in this and you want to keep having these conversations, we're just going to go over there. So please follow over there. So if it happens, you'll be ready.
I just want to say, Victoria, I've been following you for a while. I used to see you in Matt's space all the time.
I knew I had seen you before.
Yes, I've been following you for a while, and I will tell you, as a Black woman, I am very critical of all the white tea folks running. I don't care who you are, and especially white tea women have made me very cautious. And I will say, and you guys in this space know me, if I was in Tennessee, I would vote for Victoria, hands down. I have seen her stand 10 toes down on all of the different things. I've seen her get down and dirty and with no recourse, and I appreciate it. And I really, really, really hope that you win this time, Victoria.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
For those that may have just missed it, so I'm talking about the tube of you, and it's the same name, same image, same all of that.
Guys, I started writing a memoir because when I flipped this seat, because I'm up against a 16-year incumbent. We have run there every election cycle. We have had a Democrat go up against him, and every election cycle. It's a moderate Democrat, the needle moves, but like not much. And then we had my election where the needle clearly moved, you know. Thank you so much, Gigi. I so appreciate that because it is important. And I say it all the time. I would rather stand 10 toes down for marginalized communities because I'm not interested in getting MAGA to vote for me. They'll cross that line if they think that if they buy in. I would rather stand 10 toes down with my marginalized communities, my Black, Brown, and Indigenous brothers and sisters, my trans brothers and sisters, my LGBTQAI plus brothers and sisters, because we deserve better representation. And that's why I'm running for office.
Yep.
I'm curious, Victoria, you brought up the fact that it's a red district. What does Cook have it at?
I want to say we're a 22 plus district.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that's a tough road for you, Victoria. You go get them, girl.
look,
Go get them.
I grew the district in 5 months. I grew voter turnout in 5 months. If you go look at those numbers, people see a loss. There is more to be learned in a loss than there is to be in a win. So when you go look at those numbers and you look at previous elections, now my district has only looked like this since 2022. I am only the second congressional candidate to run in 2 consecutive general elections. So what have I been doing? I've been building. I never stopped campaigning, guys. I still work full time. I'm about to hop on my computer and start working. Mike knows. He texts me while I'm working. When I do, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm working right now. I'm going to go make a video and then I'll hop back at work and whatnot.
Yep.
This is what I mean. Like all that money that I raise allows me to pay my staff well. And I just take the hit. I worked basically 12-hour days from campaigning to my radical liberal job. And then, I do the thing on the weekends where I'm all over the counties and all over the district. I have 15 counties in my district. For those of you who don't know, I'm running against Scott Desjardins. He is most famously known because in 2012, it came out in divorce documents after he was elected that he pulled a pew-pew on his wife and dry fired through the door, forcing her to get an abortion. He also forced 2 other partners to get abortions, as well as traded medicine for relations because he was a medical professional, a doctor. He has been considered and voted the worst conservative Republican in DC by conservative magazines. He doesn't meet with constituents. Most of his fundraising is corporate and large dollar donations and APAC money. He's been caught in closed door sessions saying that if he speaks to a constituents, he loses votes. And that is who is our elected representative and has been for 16 years.
Well, I'm curious. The Democrats held the House, obviously, while he was still the congressman from your district. Why weren't ethics complaints filed against him?
Because Republicans don't care.
Well, I realize that, but I'm talking about when the first 2 years of the Biden presidency, the Democrats held the majority in the House. Why didn't somebody file an ethics complaint against him? They should have.
I mean, they should have. And to be honest, it's because Democrats they've got so many things that they're focusing on, and they're just like, well, this is the Republican norm. I mean, look who they put in the White House. They put him in the White House twice. So as far as that, a lot of that, they're corporate Democrats. They are not beholden to voters in the same way that I would be, because my donations and whatnot, a lot of them get bought out by APAC and whatnot, as well as we have so many things going on in our country. We know that Republicans aren't going to take it seriously, but this is why we need Democrats who stand 10 toes down, like myself. I'm part of the citizens impeachment. I just posted an abolish ICE pledge. We need Democrats like me. We need progressives like me in DC, because the only way these people get held accountable is when we have people who stand 10 toes down.
Yep.
Well said. And shame on when we held the majority that they didn't hold this guy to account for all those things.
It's
shame on them.
It's interesting. So on Monday, the video will be coming out. I sat down with 4 amazing women who are running for Congress yesterday to talk about women in leadership, and if you don't think that these women, like Victoria, and then these 4 women are going to get things done, I asked one question, and one question turned into 30 minutes of them literally starting to try and work through the problems that we've been talking about forever. And after the 30 minutes, I'm like, this is not exactly how I planned it to be, but I love that this is what we did. But I mean, and they talked about a bunch of they talked about their experiences and stuff, and it's great. And I hope you all watch it, because these are amazing women that need to get into office, because they will actually get things done. But these are the kind of people that I'm interviewing on a daily basis and posting on a daily basis. These people that want nothing more than, they don't want to make millions of dollars doing this. They don't want to do this. Most of them would. The person we watched Bernard Taylor today. That was who we posted this morning. He's like, if you don't like what I'm doing, then don't vote for me. I will be perfectly happy going and being a firefighter and paramedic again. I don't need to be doing this. I see a need for this. That is why I am choosing to do it. And that's what so many people are doing. And that's why that's why it's so important to help get their name recognition and visibility up, because these people are actually trying to fix things. And
we're up against a system that doesn't want us. A lot of people don't realize the system and money out of politics. Quite often candidates get left on the mat trying to figure it out, and there are so many rules around it, FEC rules, that make it harder for us, getting off the ground. The reason I talk about the $120,000, my husband was like, why do you talk about it? And I was like, because it actually makes voters buy in more. They don't realize it, but when they hear me talk about how much money I raise, and it's all small dollar donations, 95% of it small dollar donations, they buy in more. I seem more credible. I seem more viable. I seem like someone they want to vote for. And this is part of the problem, because we are up against these war chest people. My opponent has a $500,000 war chest. He doesn't have to lift a single finger. What will happen is about a month before the primary, I'll start seeing his signs pop up in my county everywhere I leave. Everywhere I leave to go to another county in my district, there will be his sign right there, because he doesn't have to do anything to get votes. He literally doesn't have to even host town halls. His first and last town hall was in 2013. And that's where he told a immigrant child, that her father deserved to be deported in 2013. This man has no business representing the state of Tennessee, and yet he is. And I'm over here knocking on his door. There is no way that this dude has not heard about me, and he is not giving me a single inch of his space, because he knows that I'll take his Republican. My lawyer is Republican. I have Republicans showing up to hear me at No King speeches. When I say that they show up and they literally shake my hand and say I sound like a moderate, I'm not kidding. I get that all the time in my district, and it's because I know how to speak to rural voters, and we deserve better representation. And that's what I'm running. I'm not asking for votes. I'm asking you to believe in me.
What's funny is, I remember in the interview you talked about how the person who's in the seat now has said, or he was told, that he's not allowed to talk to voters in your district anymore, because every time he talks, he loses voters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he says it in closed door sessions. He'll say it himself, that he's like, if I speak to constituents, I lose votes, and it's because he looks like a potato.
Not a potato.
And not even a good potato, the most bland, unseasoned, mushy version of a potato.
Oh, the mushy ones are the worst.
Yeah. Look, and I say it in my seat all the time too. I'm always out. I was like, guys, I'm a politician. At the end of the day, you go Google me, it says I'm a politician. But the only shady thing about me is I have tattoos.
Victoria, have you had your primary yet?
I have not had my primary. Mike and I actually had talked about this offline, and I can't talk about it too much. I don't have a primary opponent anymore. But if you guys want to go see the tea, you guys can go over and see what happened. I can't talk about it because we're still in a bit of a legal battle. But I handled it, guys.
Wish you didn't have to
Uh,
handle it, but
I didn't have to. I did have two primary opponents. One was removed from the ballot because he was not a Democrat. He said it in the meeting, in the open meeting, that he was not a Democrat, that he actually was a libertarian and liked libertarians better. But Republicans hate him, so he can't run on a Republican ticket. It's the whole thing. The other gentleman who I know, and we had great conversations, I was actually helping him run a better primary because I wanted him to succeed, because primaries actually bring more voters out. He decided that it was a lot to take on, having a young child, all those things, and decided to step down and not run. And I love that. I love that he wanted to try. And I told him, I was like, I want you to run again because I think that you'd be a great representative. He's very similar to me. His wife is also a really big fan of my social media. So getting to her being like, I just love your social media was really fun.
And I'm looking forward to actually getting to hopefully meet Victoria in September, right? Somewhere around then.
Yeah, I'm working on it right now. I am trying to get it all down, and I've started talking about it. And some of the creators, like Gunny Speaks Out, he was like, I want to come, and
Heck
Facts
yeah.
Still Matters. He was like, I want to come too, and I was like, oh God, I'm gonna have to figure this out. But yeah, I'm really excited. We're going to do basically a panel and then a private fundraiser. The panel will be free for people to come in and hear us speak and meet the creators, etc. And then there will be a private fundraiser so that I can raise money because, guys, I'm a working class mom and I want to do this full time. So if you're feeling froggy, there are 91 people in here today. If each of you donated, $4.30, you're helping my campaign and you get a handwritten thank you note. It's the end of tomorrow. It's going to be May. But it helps my campaign. It moves us forward. It allows me to buy palm cards. It allows me to write thank you notes and do postage and make sure that we have better representation across the board. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
Victoria, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure meeting you. Mike, unfortunately, I have to get to a meeting.
Okay.
If you could drop me down.
I will do that.
Victoria, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Scott.
Kia. Thank you, everyone in chat. Thank you for everything.
Bye,
Hey, Scott.
Scott.
Bye-bye.
It's Kia. That's what it was. I was like, your name threw me off. I have to drop because I do have to go to work my liberal job and answer.
Yeah, I put Gigi in front of my name because I found out I'm having my first grandchild is due to be born in November, and Gigi is the grandma name I picked for myself. So
I love that. Okay, so our grandparent names. One of them is Gaga, which it's just my favorite. And then we have Grandpa because my oldest couldn't say Grandpa. He said Grandpa, so it's Grandpa. So I love that. And we have Granddad. Like we're very boring and that. So, but I love that. I love that you're going to be a grandma. It's so exciting, little babies.
me too. I'm really excited.
I love little baby. My best friend just had her baby, and I am like all about that life. I'm like, literally, I'm not going to campaign. I'm just going to love on this baby.
I understand. Well, thanks for coming up, Victoria. It was
Thank you,
great
Victoria.
speaking to you. And I wish you all the luck. I really, truly do.
And
We're
you're
gonna do it.
always
We're gonna
welcome
flip it.
back.
I will be. I told you I was going to make the rounds. I saw you were live, and I was like, do.
I gave her a hard time because she said that a while ago. She's like, I'm going to come up. And then she was busy. But
And then you text me, you're like, you just chop it up on these random lives.
I was texting you because I happened to just come in. It wasn't as trying to get you to join mine.
That was a wild live yesterday.
It was
but
a wild one.
I don't think I deserved that violation because I've said some pretty out of pocket things in my time on the TikTok streets, and that was very mild. Considering
Scott has gotten a violation on him when he wasn't even talking.
Oh yeah, I've done that too. I got a violation earlier for calling someone a cupcake. And got actually booted from the live. And then someone else said another woman called a person a cupcake and got booted from the live. And then the main creator, USMC, said it, and he got a 3-day violation, but I got a
Oh
week
my God.
violation, or like whatever. It was so, but he was a little cupcake. He just being a little cupcake.
I've heard you say some shit. I've heard you go off.
Kia has heard me say, were you in the live, the one that got me like a week? It was like a week ban. That was the first time like I really said some out of pocket stuff. That was for Stroop.
Oh, Stroop. I haven't seen him since Matt's.
Oh God, yeah, that one even caught Matt off guard. What I said. I'll tell you what I said offline, Mike.
Okay.
I'm not trying to catch another violation.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want her
We
to
don't need
repeat
to do that.
Because he was just like, what? So the lead up to this was he was talking about, like, he was just talking shit in the chat about how I was gonna lose, blah blah blah. And I'll text you what I said afterwards. Because he wouldn't stop, and I was a little spicy that night. But all right, I'm gonna hop down.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
TikTok is too soft. Yes, they are. I mean, we said it. That's why I'm encouraging more people to go over there, because over to the tube, because we just cannot. And I posted it in my bulletin board or whatever. We just can't have the kind of conversations we used to. It has changed since it was purchased by Oracle. It's just a fact, not a. It's the reality. I also do want to say, because I don't know if these people are probably not here anymore. For those of you that get muted, even if you are an ally or whatever, I read the things that some of y'all have said, and you need to understand a few things. One, this is my space, not your space. I try and make it a safe space because it's the goal is for it to be a safe space. That means that you need to be careful what you say. Even if you're trying to be supportive, you need to think about what you're saying looks like when it is read by other people. And the biggest one, you do not have freedom of speech in my chat. This app gives me the ability to make it so nobody talks. Hold on. I got this.
Three, 2, 1. Shit, I was right. Kia's right again.
Nice.
Stroop was a dick. Oh, he was just rotten.
Oh,
and it's
my
like,
gosh.
Some of these TikTok trolls, it's just like, do you not have anything better to do than be
No.
miserable?
Which is why I always laugh when they come in and say, get a job. And it's like, what do you do all day? Because you obviously don't work, because I see your names everywhere. What do you mean about freedom of speech that no one has the right to use it in your lives? I'm not the government, Giuseppe. You do not have the right to say whatever you want in my chat. This app gives me the ability to make it so no one can talk. If that was an actual problem, I wouldn't be given that ability. Now, I want us to have open, honest, and hard conversations, but that doesn't mean you get to say whatever you want. I know we as a country, as a society, have gotten this idea that freedom of speech means we can say whatever we want, whenever we want, wherever we want. But that doesn't mean there aren't going to be consequences to those. And in my chat, there are consequences.
Crime, that's not how it
Morning.
really works. You don't get paid like when they come in. It's more so like because they've changed so much of how everything is. So now you pretty much get paid from like gifters and stuff. And then they do something called like a scaled rewards where like that gives me just a little boost because I only usually have like 10 at the most 15 people in my live, but the people that are in there constantly engage. We chat a lot, so the chat is moving. And even if I don't, sometimes I don't make any money, but like that kind of stuff, even if I do, even if I get a couple heart me's, just the conversation, the gifting, it does it more. Also how you get paid, like your league. If you go on TikTok and you see underneath the creator's name, there's a league. Depending on the league that you're in, increases or decreases how much you get paid as well. But the trolls chatting in the comment, they don't help you get paid.
So on the tube, technically, just coming in does get me a little bit. It gets me almost nothing. In the grand scheme of things, unless I'm starting to be in the thousands of people watching me, it's very minimal the amount of I do. But if they watch a commercial coming into my live, technically I get a, you know, if I'm lucky, a penny.
Yeah, I did a live one day and I made 0. I know in 1 week I did 3 lives and I made like $2. I make more gifts on your live than I do on my own.
Yeah, Giuseppe. It's again, these are going to be hard conversations, and I never expect anyone to agree with them. Though I know there are people that come in and be like, you know, that think I only care about people that agree with me. I don't. But you cannot just say whatever you want. You just can't. I'm sorry.
And we have people that come in here, and even though they don't agree with us, they stay in the conversation. I don't boot them out like Chosen One. And then sometimes they just come in and say stupid shit, and their first comment gets them kicked for the day.
Mhm.
But I don't block them because they're not usually extremely harmful, if you know what I mean, because you can disagree all day. There's times that I disagree with Mike. You guys have heard it. There's times I disagree with Scott. There's times we disagree, and the disagreement is okay. It's just you don't, the entitlement and that Americanacity where you just think you get to say whatever the fuck you want, however you say it, however you want to say it, whenever. That don't work here.
Kia, I love that you say Americanacity. That's just too good. That's too good of a word. It needs to be in the dictionary.
Well, thank you. I think it's quite fitting myself.
Giuseppe, it's not even to learn to be more kind. I mean, yes, we do need to learn to be more kind as a whole, but I think it's even more than that, because some of these conversations are very emotional, and especially when you're talking about people's lives, I think sometimes people need to hear, you know, hear the truth, hear the reality, you know, have someone sit here and say, you know, this is not okay, and sometimes need to hear it in a much more expressive way. The problem comes is the problem comes is that we've lost the ability to listen. We speak more than we listen. Disagreements are fine. It doesn't mean that the person is evil. It is a general case, correct. That is true. In the broad sense, that is true.
Not only that, too, TikTok has started holding the creator accountable. Not only what the guests say in the box, but what the chat says as well. It's up to the host and the mods. That's why having mods is so important, to monitor the chat, because that can get you dinged as well when people in the chat are saying things. And also like the misinformation and stuff like that. Like, no.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
Yes,
if we're talking again, I have a line. It's my line of fundamentals. All my mods know it. If your statement goes against that, you will at minimum get muted. Because I cannot have a conversation with you if you do not even align with my red line. Like Ricky here. You can't take criticism. If you actually think that, then you haven't actually listened ever. I get criticized all the time.
I criticize him like shit. But you
We
don't get to come in here. See, that's the thing. That's why I muted you for the rest of the live. You don't just get to come in here because we don't agree with you and you don't like how we do things here. If you don't like this space, stop coming. There's literally thousands of other lives that you can go to on TikTok at any given time. You don't have to be here.
Kia and I had a yelling match at each other at one point. And then
Indeed.
and it was. But again, what it comes down to is Kia knows, and I know that our fundamentals are aligned. Until that happened, until we get to that point, you can't just assume. Like, you go by what people say, and if what you say, because again, we also know that this is the internet, and this is a text chat, and everything you say in text chat is not always going to be read correctly. So there are times when you say things that we just mute you. So if you get muted, sometimes don't. I get them every once in a while from people that are like, I love watching your lives, but you muted me and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, and then I look at what you said and I'm like, yeah, I probably would have muted you too. You got to be careful with what you say and how you say it.
And muting allows you the ability to come back the next day and try again. There's a difference. If you just get muted, that means you can come back the next day and try again. But eventually, like, if you keep you don't have to be here. Like, it's not a right for you to be in this space.
Yeah. This is where it gets hard, because again, we have spent, the last decade of, especially of social media growth, teaching people that, hey Zoe, teaching people that, teaching people to have conversations like we are constantly on the internet, and even not learning how to have conversations like we're face to face but on the internet. Like, we've forgotten how to do it. It's really easy, and again, understandably so. In some ways, I'm glad it's this easy. If somebody says something that you disagree with, you can just stop interacting. You guys have the capability of just moving on if you don't like what I say. And I understand that. Sometimes it's frustrating, but I understand that. In terms of the people that come in that are just the worst of the worst, I'm glad I can block them. That's something that I couldn't, that we can't do with our next door neighbor. But again, because we've had this ability and we've used this ability so much, especially over the last 10 years, we have forgotten how to have conversations with people we just disagree with. We've gotten to this point where we're so easily just move on, it's like, even for the viewing time, like, I made a video and in it I was like, if I don't catch you in 3 seconds, you're gone. And that's what every person who has helped me, who I've talked with, that's a social media person, tells me. You need to do a hook that catches them in 3 seconds. And this is with people that follow me just as much as with people that don't, which is the frightening thing. But a conversation can't happen in 3 seconds. A conversation can't happen in 30 seconds or a minute or a minute and a half or 3 minutes. I could talk for an hour straight on some of these topics because they're that nuanced. 30 seconds, a minute and a half ignores the nuance of every conversation. That's the hard part. If I want to get you to stick around, I almost always have to say something like it's black and white. Because the second I make the comment in any sort of nuanced way, people move on. And it's frustrating. And I don't know what else to do about it, except just keep doing what I'm doing and hoping that over time, people will learn, and maybe we can keep having more and more of these hard conversations and people spend more and more time. You know, I've seen podcasters talk about how they've gone out and had people come up and be like, "Oh, I've seen your stuff," and they're like, "Oh, you listen to my podcast?" Like, no, I've seen clips of your podcast. They never actually watched the podcast. The only way they know them is from the clips. The clips didn't pull them into watching the podcast. They just watch the clip and move on. That's the thing I hate about them. I'm frustrated about the clips. Because again, I can't get you guys to understand what we talked about in any clip from any of the episodes I've done. If you don't watch the whole thing, all I'm giving you is something that I hope pulls you into watching it. And oftentimes it doesn't. I don't know what to do about that. Not sure there is anything I can do about that except try and be different.
I don't think, Deirdre, I don't think I can really truly answer that question, honestly. Do you have a better, do you have an answer for her, Mike?
Working on my state competitive races so I can use my time better and amplify in other states. Any good resources beyond flip that seat? I mean, the problem is in identity, when it comes to identity politics, is it can't be about just flipping the seat, because the problem comes, the reason we got here is because all the conversation ever is about flipping the seat back and forth. So if we're talking about a way that we can get past this idea of just flipping a seat and getting and amplifying voices, the people whose voices we need to amplify are the ones that are talking about things that everybody is dealing with. So when you are interacting with people or trying to amplify people, it's about the conversations that it's having conversations that are something that we're all dealing with, because everyone's dealing with cost of living. Everyone's frustrated about the Iran war. Like, those are of cost of fuel and electricity and healthcare and stuff. So I guess it's any good resources beyond flip that seat. Are you talking about like a place that you can go to give visibility? I guess that's
Breaking
but that
news.
seat is broad, doesn't take into account. To do it is to watch and share content by people that are actually, whether it's their content or someone else's content that's interviewing them.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll just say, because you look at the people that are getting the most visibility and name recognition, it's because their social media has been amplified. Social media.
What about
sorry, go.
I'm sorry. What about reaching out to the candidates and asking what?
That's true too.
Like, if you can find, like, on Ballotpedia or whatever, if you can find out who's running, if you could reach out to the candidates themselves and see how you could be helpful. That might be the greatest thing, because they might need they might need somebody to text, they might need somebody to call, they might need somebody to do postcards.
Yeah. Looking up who's running in your state or district, and how they can get help. But I mean, the easiest thing, if we're talking the easiest thing, is look who's up, find people that you want to help get it, and help spread their content. Share it with people, watch it yourself, watch it all the way through, interact with it, those kind of things. That's the easiest. The next step that is also very helpful is actually working with the candidates that are running that and see what kind of help they can get.
And I honestly, previously, I would have told you to reach out to the local chapter of your DNC group, but like they just seem to like be falling flat on their faces. So I would go directly to the candidates themselves. For sure. I don't know if you saw the amazing comment you got on the other side.
I did.
MJ, I
Thank
started
you, MJ.
following you on TikTok a year or two ago, but gave up on TikTok for sanity, but found you on the tube of you. Your kindness and fairness is the hook for me. Keep up the good trouble. I wanted everybody to hear that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And yes, Eleanor, and it's not even just like, but see, that's that whole system, like when Mike talks about it being a corporation, that's exactly what it is. And that corporation itself needs to be fixed as well.
Mm-hmm. We
We have to do something about this money situation in our politics. We have to have these hard conversations, because the thing is it's got to be, we have to think outside of more than just winning these elections. If we don't start paying attention to the underlying issues that are happening, we're going to keep ending up here again and again and again. Like, y'all, racism. I am a black woman. Sugar's a black man. We can both tell you in personal ways how we experienced it, how our families have experienced it, how the culture is experiencing it. And I need you guys to understand, and I need you guys to do the work. There's a lot of deconstructing of a lot of shit that has to happen. The patriarchy, the misogyny, the whole Americanacity of it all. And it's all encompassing stuff. Folks have to do the work. And the other thing I want folks to do is make sure that you're not asking Black folks or BIPOC folks how to do the work. Talk to each other, reach out, start communities with each other. Just even if it's online. I know some people can't just get up and go. Some people are not going to go door to door. I don't feel comfortable where I am walking around by myself, talking to folks or what have you. But whatever you can do, like, just make sure when you're having those uncomfortable, make sure you got a notebook. Make sure when you're hearing stuff that you see, that either stuff you're hearing on social media platforms, stuff that you're hearing or seeing on TV, whether it's the news, you read something, or you're hearing something that makes you feel a certain type of way, write it down. If there's something that you hear you don't know what they're talking about, write it down, and then go do some research on it. Y'all, the libraries are our friends. The libraries are our friends. You can get a library, you can go to the library for free.
The other thing that we this is not something that we can fix in one election. It's why I talk about the need for knowing who your local and state representatives are. It's why I talk about how important primaries are. Look at places like Connecticut. Connecticut has never had a primary challenger ever.
And that's ridiculous. Unless they're doing just that good of a fucking job, but still, even the ones doing the good jobs, term limits. We still need the term limits.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
But I've interviewed and posted multiple people that are running for office in multiple districts in Connecticut, and they've talked about how they will go up and talk to people about getting their endorsement or their signatures or all the other things that you can do there. And they're worried. They're worried that they're worried that if they support this new person and this new person loses, that the current representative will hold it against them and not give them money and things that are needed to survive going forward. And that's a reality, and that's the Democratic Party. So when I say I am not a fan of either parties, I mean it. Do I think the Democratic Party in a broad sense is a better direction than the Republican Party? Absolutely. In the current two-party system. But don't misconstrue that for support or happiness with. Both sides have some serious issues, and I think more and more as time goes on, we're seeing both sides show more and more issues. Now, again, you want to talk about why I consider one worse than the other. Let's look at the Eric Swalwell situation, which was bad. Very bad. And it's very bad that that whole situation was ignored, and situations like it have been ignored in politics, in government for a long time. I want to point out the differences. Tony Gonzalez and Eric Swalwell. Tony Gonzalez, the news came out that a person that a staffer that he got pregnant took her life. Did his party make him leave? No. Did he decide not to run again because of it? Yes. But was he forced out? No. Eric Swalwell did something as despicable. How long after that news came out did Swalwell not only step down from his governor's race, but leave? Step down as a congressman. What was it, a few days? And only when that happened did Tony Gonzalez leave as well? That's what I'm talking about when I say there's a difference. The Republican Party as a whole, I'm not talking about bits and pieces. I'm talking about what the general way it works is. The Republican Party is willing to accept wretched people, wretched ideals, wretched almost everything in order to win and to keep power. And the Democratic Party as a whole, the people that are in the Democratic Party, that support the Democratic Party, not the status quo people, I'm talking about the general people, aren't willing to accept that. Not to the same level, at least. Do they still, do we as voters as a whole accept too much? Okay, yeah, we do. We've allowed too much to be accepted in society, and we need to fix that. It was another streaming me. Wait, what? Page tapping, looked up. It was another streaming me.
Are they still live right now? Did you happen to do a screenshot, Terry? Oh no, Suge, don't ever. Oh my God. And I just want to say real quick for those of those here in this community that are also part of my community, I was going to go live, but I just got a text saying there's going to be an outage in a little bit because they're doing some work on the Wi-Fi, which is irritating, but I'm glad because there's still folks that when we got our Wi-Fi, that other people still haven't gotten theirs yet, and they're working on that today. So I'm not going to go live today, unfortunately. I really want to see.
Yeah.
Thanks, Terry. I know some creators do that, especially like when they do something where they call it MAGA hunting or troll hunting. And like if you have two devices, they'll like, or a couple of accounts, you know, they'll be live and then they'll join the other live with like their backup account, and then that way the people that are in their chat can hear and see on the screen what's going on the other live, but the other people can't see.
Mm.
That's got me curious for sure.
Look how long Matt Gaetz was around despite his disgusting history and was nominated for the DOJ. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the cool thing. That's, well, so one of the people in the interview that's coming out on Monday is a former congressional staffer. And we talk about that too. We talk about a lot of things. It's a really amazing interview with some really amazing women who I think are going to do some amazing stuff in office.
Yeah, I watched the interview. Well,
I wonder
say
how many people
watched,
think they're watching me and they're watching somebody else. That
I
would be
don't know. I know
wild. That would
that's
explain
what.
a lot.
Yes, because you're like our numbers have been 150 around at least, and it's been kind of like low today, and that is weird.
Well, it's been low. Yeah, the last few days I've noticed that my numbers have been lower in general. There have been times where it's gone up, but the average has actually been lower.
Yeah. But you know, I've been in the 60s. That's what I've been noticing because like we were hitting some pretty good numbers, and then
Yeah, I
it's
was in
like
like 200s, 300s,
Mhm.
and then it just disappeared. Missed the whole live. It's okay, Carla. I understand people are busy. Since the inception of her. Oh, I know, Kat. I know. What's going on? ID required to vote. What does that have to do with anything that we're talking about? A lot of states require ID to vote. That's not the point. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but a lot of states have voter ID.
Catherine, are you in the Disky? On the tube? Are you on the Disky? Because I will tell you, like me personally, ever since the blackout last year, I got one notification on my iPad 2 weeks ago, and it was for tea. I have not gotten not one. I have turned off all my notifications, turned them back on. I've went into TikTok settings. I've went into my Play Store settings. I have done everything. I deleted the app, all the different things I could do, and I still don't get notification. So if you can join his Disky, you can actually get every morning when he goes live, he sends out a notification, so you'll know when he's live on both sides. I'll post it in chat.
You just started receiving notifications again. I just checked that name and didn't see a live going on. I mean, it doesn't matter in the end. There's nothing I can do about it. There's literally nothing I can do about it, right?
Thank you, Terry. The only thing you could do is try to report it.
No, I understand, Jennifer, and I appreciate you guys looking.
I just posted the link for anybody that's on the, I'm sorry, Mike, on
No.
the tube side. If you're not already part of the Disky, I put the link in there. So we've got about 9-10 minutes left or so of the live. But if you want to join that, you will get a notification as long as he remembers to send them out. But you'll get a notification for both places.
As long as I remember to set out what?
Mm-hmm.
As long as I remember to send out what?
Set the notifications. Because that one day I was like, what? I didn't get a notification. You're like, oh.
No, that wasn't me. So I have it set up automatically, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. It's annoying as hell that sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what to do about it.
It was a blonde hair lady. I'm so curious now. Look at all the people joining. Thank you, thank you. The bot must go on vacation.
Or they heard us talking about them and they're like, whoop.
And also, like, if you haven't already sent your heart me's for the day, make sure you send your heart me. Those little silly things like sending a heart me every day that you're in this space, doing, the go popular, commenting when you're in here, both, and when you're on the other side, hitting the thumbs up every time you join that chat. Like I do the thumbs up and do all the things before I even start commenting, just so I don't forget to do it, because I know my squirrely brain, I'll forget. You mean the cord bot? I feel that. Which is how you know.
Thanks, Jamie. Yeah, if you want to get good notifications when things happen, the Discord is a great place to be. Thank you. I appreciate that you guys tell people that you guys are spreading the word, because you guys spreading the word with people is one of the best ways to grow everything that we're doing. People that know you and trust you is much more likely to turn people into viewers than just a random video of mine. I might get followers, but not a guarantee on viewers. 90K, that's crazy, y'all. And that shows that something weird is going on. That's all I'm saying. Y'all have been tapping like a crazy person.
Yeah, because one of the little things that popped up after I filled the, because for a while, if you were a guest in the box, if you did enough likes to like consistently fill up that heart box up there, folks were getting dropped out of the panel, like just magically dropped. And it's like, you would think that you would want somebody that's up on the panel to be able to contribute when they're not speaking.
Someone spamming. I'm sure there are lots of people that are spamming, but 90K in what, an hour and 52 minutes? That's a lot.
Well, one of them said 5,962 likes. So after I sent my likes, the little message popped up underneath. It says 5,962 likes have been sent in the last 5 minutes. Why not add your likes as well? Someone's got gosh, I even hate saying the word. Someone's got a apper with a T.
Maybe.
Because now they actually have the ones that you physically attach to your phone, and they just,
yep.
And they're not the apps, which they sell them here, so it's funny.
You're gonna get to 100. Oh, at the rate it's going, yes, I will.
But make sure you collect all your points. Make sure you do all the things. The other thing that really helps y'all, and I know Patty does a pretty good job, but filling the gallery every week, that is really helpful. That is really helpful, because those are the kind of things that tells those little things that don't have real brains, like, hey, people like what's happening here. They're gifting in there. They're doing all the good things, and especially when they do that sliding scale thing, the more you guys engage in stuff, the more opportunity it gives for Mike to be able to make some money.
And the biggest thing in the last 5 minutes, You guys know how much work I'm doing interviewing people. I want to go and visit people where they are and talk to their constituents, talk to their volunteers, talk to them, actually get like a real. It's so easy to, for those of you that, I mean, I believe personally that I'm as close to who I am everywhere as I am online, but especially when you're running a race, it's easy to kind of, I'm in North Carolina, but I live right near South Carolina. But anyways, so I want to get out and meet people. But I need to try, I'm trying to raise money in order to do that. I do have a GF me. If have you got? I have messaged her. I have not heard back from her. I would love to talk with her. If you guys are able, even if it's like $5, even if it's $2, any amount helps get to a point. I'm doing what I'm calling a progressive fundraiser that's ending on the 7th of May, where I'm going to do like an all-day live with things. Yeah, if you have an in on getting some of these people for interviews, I would love to talk with them. Especially South Carolina, that would be easier for me to get to anyways, to talk with them.
What'd you say that name was that you watched this morning? I'm sorry, the light bulb just. You said Bernard?
Bernard.
He was on Mermaids Live.
Yeah, he's been on a lot of people's lives. He does his own too.
Yeah, I saw him and I was like, I told him, I was like, man, if I was in Florida, I'd vote for you.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. But yeah, so if you have the ability to go on to that GF me, the don't go F me, GF me, and give any amount, I would appreciate it. It would be so helpful. I gotta get equipment that I can use to interview people in a mobile sense, which I don't have because everything I've had has been here. Funding of the go. There you go.
Do you have the green app, the CA?
I
money?
do. I don't have it posted anywhere. I do.
That's the other thing. Like if you,
But I've got Venmo and I've got.
I don't have Venmo. I have the CA. I'm gonna send you $5. I don't have no money, but I'm gonna send you $5 because I believe in what you're doing. I just need you to send me what your CA is. Make sure you get all that shit posted, Mike, because a lot of people that way, those other options like the me of the funding is great and all, but like they're gonna take a percentage. So like being able to, trying to use my right words, participate directly to you is really helpful.
I understand
so
that.
please.
One of the reasons that I was doing it the way I was doing it was because I use the different funds for different things. And since I'm raising specifically to do one thing, I want to separate it from the other money that I'm using for things to cover the stuff that I'm using on a daily basis. But I will make it and I will post it on Discord. So if anyone wants to, they can. I will do that.
And then we could just put notes. You guys just make sure you put a note in the for section what it's for. And then if that makes it easier for you to be able to differentiate, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But yes, please there, and maybe think about in your tree of links, all of that, because a lot of people do prefer to do it, the Vimo, the app of the C,
Yep.
the PP. Do it, brother. Damn it. Do it.
There's also, if you want to even go even more direct, because all of them take a tiny bit, but if you want to go even more direct, there is even a Zelly link. If you want to go straight bank to bank, there is actually a couple people that have done that.
Yes, look into Zeffy. That's what Carly from Norland Kitten Nursery, she's been doing Zeffy. And it's free. All of it. And I mean, she's like doing multiple thousands of dollars, like trying to get a bus refitted so they can start transporting, animals from Louisiana and up to the northern states where they don't have as much problem with overpopulation of kittens mostly and puppies. So look into that too for sure. Thanks for that reminder. And hey, Daisy. Um, and yeah, I love you, brother. I love everybody. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do for the space every
Yes.
day. All the support for me, for my brother, for the community. We will be able. We will need our village. We need our village.
April, I would love to interview anyone. If you this, and I'm going to say this real quick, and then we'll go. If you know anybody, or if you are willing to reach out, either myself or Rosa can get you the. Thank you, Claudia. Can get you a link for people to sign up to be interviewed. If you guys are willing to help, I would greatly appreciate it. We can do it, but especially if you are one of their constituents and you're like, we'd like you to do it, it probably actually would mean a little bit more than just a random person reaching out to them, because then our emails get lost in the I'm in North Carolina, but from South Carolina. There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna try hard. Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. I really do. And again, South Carolina is close, so I could easily go for an interview on those in a way that I can't before other times. But anyways, guys, have an amazing rest of your day. I'm going to see you tomorrow morning, and we will talk about whatever crazy stuff is going on. But go out, get some sun, get them vitamin E, always important. Do something that gives you a little bit of joy today, because joy is also a form of resistance. Okay. Probably sometime next week, we will do one day that is full over on the tube, because we need to get you guys used to that, because we've already seen what happens twice now. This is 2 days in a row that this has happened. So if you don't follow me over on the tube, please do. If you don't watch the stuff over there, please do. It helps more than you know. It really does help them. So please do it. May Day tomorrow. Also, if you are capable of taking part in that, if that is I don't want to tell anyone they need to, but a lot of people on May Day are not doing anything or not buying anything. They're not spending money for a whole day. So if you have the ability to do that for whatever reason, please do it, because every little bit helps. Okay. Do what you can. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for my mods. You guys are amazing as always. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the gifts. I appreciate you. Thank you for all of the giving you guys have given to what I do here. It means more than you know, especially at this time of year where thank you, mission. We hear. Yeah. It means more than you know that you guys come out every day and watch my stuff. It means more than you know that you guys are willing to support me in ways that you are. You guys are amazing just the way you are, and I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile. Do something that makes you happy. Bye, guys.